Have you ever worked on a project where each step depended on the one before it being completed first? Think about a building renovation, a technology implementation, or a policy rollout. In many projects, the work follows a specific sequence, and skipping steps can create major problems. That's the foundation of the Waterfall Method, a project management approach built around structured planning and sequential execution. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Katie Linder, a certified project manager, change manager, and coach who works full-time leading and supporting teams in higher education. On this channel, I offer real-world examples of how project management translates into the higher ed environment. If you're looking for ways to use project management tools and skills, both professionally and personally, to bring more ease to your work and life, you're in the right place. Let's start with a basic definition. The Waterfall Method is a project management approach where work moves through a series of phases in a specific sequence. Each phase is completed before moving on to the next. Much like water flowing down a waterfall, the project progresses in one direction with very little movement backward. The classic waterfall phases include planning, requirements gathering, design, implementation, testing, and launch. While the exact names of the phases may vary depending on the project, the core idea remains the same. Complete one stage before moving on to the next. One of the reasons the Waterfall Method became so popular is that it's easy to understand. The project begins with a detailed plan. The team identifies the requirements, defines the scope, estimates timelines, and clarifies expectations before significant work begins. This creates a clear roadmap for everyone involved. For example, imagine a university is renovating a classroom building. Before construction begins, architects create designs, budgets are approved, permits are secured, and timelines are established. It would be difficult and potentially very expensive to start construction and then continuously redesign the building as the work progresses. In this situation, a waterfall approach makes a lot of sense because the project benefits from careful planning and a structured sequence of activities. The same can be true for many higher education projects: a campus office relocation, a policy implementation project, a facilities upgrade, or a compliance-related initiative may all benefit from this more traditional project management approach because the requirements are relatively clear from the beginning. One of the biggest advantages of the Waterfall Method is predictability. Because the project is planned in detail up front, stakeholders often have a clear understanding of scope, timelines, milestones, and expected outcomes. This can make budgeting, resource planning, and progress reporting a lot easier. The Waterfall Method can also be helpful when multiple groups need to coordinate their work. When everyone understands the sequence of activities, it becomes easier to identify dependencies and manage handoffs between teams. However, the Waterfall Method isn't the right fit for every project. One of the biggest challenges with this approach is that it assumes the project requirements are known early and will remain relatively stable throughout the project. As many of us know, that's not always what happens in higher education. New information emerges, stakeholder needs change, leadership priorities shift, technology evolves. What seemed like the right solution 6 months ago may need significant adjustments by the time implementation begins. Because the Waterfall Method relies heavily on upfront planning, making changes later in the process can be difficult, costly, and time-consuming. This is why some projects struggle when a waterfall approach is applied in situations that require flexibility and experimentation. For example, imagine a university is developing a completely new student support program. The team may not know exactly what students need until they begin testing different services and gathering feedback. In that case, a more iterative approach might be more effective than a traditional waterfall model. One of the most important lessons in project management is that no single methodology is always the best choice. Instead, project managers need to understand the strengths and limitations of different approaches and select the one that best fits the project context. When you're considering whether to use a waterfall approach, ask yourself a few questions. Are the requirements clear? Is the scope relatively stable? Are there significant risks associated with making changes later? Do stakeholders need a highly predictable timeline and budget? If the answer to those questions is yes, waterfall may be a strong option. If the project requires ongoing learning, experimentation, or frequent stakeholder feedback, another approach may be more appropriate. The goal isn't to choose the most popular methodology. The goal is to choose the approach that gives your project the best chance of success. Understanding when to use the waterfall method and when not to use it can help you make better decisions and lead projects more effectively. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you worked on a project that used the waterfall method? What worked well, and what challenges did you encounter along the way? And if you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content on translating project management approaches for higher education contexts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.